I'm delighted to be here in your company, and my thanks to Karen Kennedy for Habitat for Humanity for inviting me to celebrate this wonderful occasion. I think that it is one of the most celebratory occasions since I became president on November the 11th. The whole idea of a family getting a home and of new life being breathed into a building is exciting in every level. One of my reasons for accepting the invitation very early on, when you wrote to me and talked about your proposals for another project, which I wish well, and I'll be very happy to come along if I can, if I'm free when you're doing that. But of course, Inchicore is quite proximate to my own new home. It's important, I suppose, that I visit the neighbours in the neighbourhood that we share. I just want to. I know how important it will be for Jennifer and Keith and Fiona as they settle into their homes. And may I, most importantly, one of the things I want to say is to wish them health and happiness in their new dwelling. It's so important and so life-changing. I know a bit about it. I should tell you, when my own family split up many years when my father was very ill, they spent a long time on the housing list in Limerick City, waiting for it to be allocated a house eventually in Rathbun. And then again, when my brother and myself were out in County Clail, there's something very special about a house. I remember one of my mother's own spent most of her life wanting to have a house rather like the house she'd lost in Limerick. So having a home is very important. And isn't it wonderful, I think, as well, that now in 2012 we're talking about providing homes and not just units, because there's a huge difference, and there's a very big difference in what Habitat Ireland are doing in cooperation with Dublin City Council. I'm very glad, Karen, that you mentioned Vincent, whom I met on the way in. I think that is incredibly important, that families are able to move off the list and move into this area here. When I say the word home is being very important, it's more than a roof over our heads and a safe place to live and rest. Shelter is very important, but in my other life, after 20 or 30 years, we spent a lot of time getting people to, if you like, to make sure that everyone has shelter. But it's a very significant step in rights thinking to go on and say that people should have a home. It's a whole other dimension. I think that it is in homes that relationships are established. And as well, I'm going to the United States in about 2 weeks' time, where, among other things, I will be talking about our family immigrants and so on. But, you know, so much of our history is about homes. It's about losing homes, leaving homes, it's making homes in new places, and it's at the centre of the Irish psyche. I think that it will be so important that we're fulfilling human rights thinking when people have homes, and this is a great area. St. Patrick's will be very nearby, St. Pat's. I've often gone down the road there at a time when Galway United both existed and was beating St. Pat's on occasion. But these newly renovated homes in Emmet Road, they're an example as well of something that, as you described it, about how families can be actively involved and integrally involved in the creation of their new homes. I so pay tribute to the volunteers who worked with them, and I think that this is really a practical demonstration of what I had in mind myself in relation to my own inauguration address. I spoke about encouraging all citizens to be active in an inclusive sense, and also to participate. And this has given this gives a great example of how, in the task of renovation, you can have the local authority involved, you can have the lead agency, Habitat, involved, and you can have the volunteers, and you can have those whose home it is going to be. it's very interesting about when I look, when I was an academic looking at the Irish and Britain, some of the streams of one of the things about the people who worked on the building sites is that they would come back occasionally and they'd give each other time in building their houses. So some of the ones who have come back, they did that because they were using their skills for themselves. I think that I do realise as well how this is a different model, and it's somewhat unique in the provision of social housing, and I strongly commend, as I've said already, all of the partners who've had the flexibility and the generosity in being able to work together. I think that it is just such a great example. I think that as well about Habitat for Humanity, it would be wrong if I didn't say about the organisation itself. I am aware of the organisation's work abroad. It has been when I was involved as a spokesperson on foreign affairs and on overseas development aid, I've seen, it is extraordinary to see in areas of devastation what people will seek to take from the ruins after, for example, not just earthquakes, but after devastation that has taken place. I've seen people take sheets of galvanized and to try and take them away with them, because this will be, in fact, the first piece of material used in a replacement house. People incredible. That work internationally is very, very important, because it is only when we think universally that we're actually morally evolving onto the plane where we want to be, with a different kind of world. I looked and I read about the founding of Habitat for Humanity, about Millard Fuller and his wife Linda in the United States, the philosophy behind it, the core mission of enabling people become homeowners in partnership with professionals and public bodies and donors. And it is appropriate as well that I pay tribute to those who have donated, not just their labour, many of the people who have donated the different pieces of equipment to make a home. And I very much mention that. I saw from the road figures, it's a very great achievement that Habitat has been able to say that it has helped 2 million people in over 90 countries. I think that is just a powerful statement to be able to make. The other part of it, and coming to a finish, is to simply say, there was something always not just artificial, but morally questionable about the notion that one would in fact be making speculative profit out of housing shortage, as it was called. I think that the artificiality of it was one thing, but it raised another question: is this is an area of human existence which shouldn't be really treated in this particular way. I think that we are left with an enormous problem of people trapped in different mortgage difficulties and in inequity difficulties and so forth. But more important, more incredible, as I travelled around the country for 14 months in my presidential campaign, the existence of ghost estates. And I keep on thinking of those who, for example, have longed for a home, and at the same time you have houses where should never have been built, which now have created an immense problem. And let us hope that there will be imaginative proposals to deal with all of that. May I wish Habitat for Humanity well, and I mentioned already that when you wrote to me originally, the correspondence was about Ballyfermot, Ballymun and Finglas particular. We can stay in touch on that. I do think it's great, and once again I pay tribute to everybody here. I'm delighted that Dublin City Council is represented by some of its former members who are now members of the Oireachtas. I'm glad to see here as well. There's great inspiration, and particularly by Vincent Healy, who I know what it means to be able to be an innovator in administrative options as much as in anything else, and I pay tribute to him for that. I think that I want to wish you well. I want to wish the families in particular health and happiness here. I want to thank you for making it possible for them, all of you who have cooperated in different ways. And I just think that this is a kind of Irishness that we can be proud of at home and abroad. And all those Irish people who go abroad to address the issues of providing homes for those who've lost them through landslides, as in the case of Salvador and Honduras, I remember, or in Haiti, or in Africa, and so forth. They're doing such, there's no price can be ever paid on that. And it is what can't be measured in the end that is most important. So, Ganari lip, Gwim Gagrach, Gaspanacht, Nikina Meg in Agonian Sasnahot, Snittia, Agus Tri Slim Gahomlan, Agus Gan ein Chora Lesh, and Iad Sana Queer Fallen Chance and Hogan on Chance Door. Thank you very much.
I had a lot more actually to say, President, but you hit all the main points for me. We want to say how very proud that we are that you're here with us today. We want to say how impressed we are about how you represent all of the Irish people, your focus on overseas, your understanding of citizenship and your attention that you pay to it too. We couldn't have done this without all of the support that we have received from the whole community here, from the business community, from the guards outside and everybody who's really been involved. It's been a group effort that we've seen as Habitat around the world in the 90 countries that you mentioned. And you know, for Habitat, every single house is important. Yes. Every single one of those 2 million families is important. And in honour of that, we'd like, and your focus on that, we'd like to present you, President Higgins, with your Habitat for Humanity hat in recognition of all of your work of this wonderful day. And thank you very much.
I put it in my stack. So.